All right, Michael, so unprofessional, arrogant, all of these texts, does that necessarily amount to reasonable doubt in your mind for this jury?
I think when the defense takes on this witness, it's going to be held as an exhibition and a law school class on how to impeach an investigator. They're going to dissect this guy left and right. They're going to make mincemeat of this guy. Does it amount to reasonable doubt? I don't know, Judge Ashley. Right now, this case is trending, in my opinion, in favor of the prosecution. The taillight evidence, the fact that she was drunk the next day, she was still legally drunk, and the whole allegation is that she ran him over because she was drunk. I feel like it's still trending in their direction, but these investigators, this specific investigator, this Proctor character, he's giving the defense a little bit of breathing room. So I don't know if this will amount to reasonable doubt, because I think the prosecution, in closing argument, they can dispense of all the negative, nasty things that this guy has done and bring this whole thing into context. We're talking a month from now, right? This will be out of the jury's mind in some regard.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they're smart strategically. They're kind of trying to bury him in the middle of all of their testimony. And National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar, you know, as I'm listening to this, and I would like you first to weigh in, Michael, I feel like it's an example of law enforcement trying to make the evidence fit a person instead of just following the evidence to see who did it.
That is a very fair conclusion, and that's the problem with his testimony.
Yeah.
We know every criminal defense attorney likes to argue this when the overall facts may not be in their favor. They scream that the investigation was tunnel vision, and this guy gives them all the ammunition you need.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. All right, chime in. Tell me, Michael, what you think of and how you would go about this cross-examination that's now started.
He's going to have to be vicious, Judge Ashley, because the promise by the defense is that they are going to show a conspiracy. It's going to be very difficult considering these circumstances. So this cross-examination, which I am very excited to watch, has to be vicious. If it's just tame, if it's just bad, if it's just embarrassing, if it's just more of the same, just innuendo, insinuations, if it's just that, it's not going to be impactful. He has to be vicious. He has to be completely diabolical in the way he breaks this witness down. This witness has to leave the courtroom with nothing left. He has to have no credibility left when he walks out of those doors.
And Michael, I have to ask this, do you believe him or not? I find that he's pretty rote in his answers, not emotional. He says he regrets, but I just don't know that I quite believe him. And I'm not sure I believe that he didn't look for any nudes on the phone like he texted.
I agree. I think it's pretty apparent what happened to him, Judge Ashley. This guy got caught. Right? He did not think that this case would blow up into the national sensation that it is. He just got caught. He was being a monster. He was being a creep. He was being disgusting and obviously misogynistic, and he got caught. It's as simple as that. Whether or not he came off credible, I think he came off credible in the fact that he did his investigation, but he clearly did it terribly. He was not following the evidence. But I think, he just owned it. There's no other way. Sometimes the train is coming to you. You have no way of escaping. You just take it out, like you just take the collision. So this is basically what this is. I imagine this guy last night before he went to bed laid back and stared at the ceiling and didn't get a wink of sleep and rehearsed his answer to all these questions. And he just rehearsed all these answers. What am I going to say? I know what they're going to say. I think at the end of this case, the Massachusetts State Police are going to have to dismiss him. They're going to have to fire him. He's not going to be working there by the end of this year. They're going to wait until this case is over. But in terms of his testimony, they brought him for a reason. He did the least worst job he could do.
Yeah, I mean, that's all pretty fair.
Yeah,
I would imagine. So. I think you're right, too, Mike. All right, let's quickly bring in our guest still with us, criminal defense attorney Jack Rice, national trial attorney Michael Jaafar. Michael, I'll start with you. Just want to get your thoughts on what we're seeing within the context of the fact that we know he's lying. We know he's going to take the stand and have to explain why he's lying.
I was nervous looking at that video. That video made me very nervous. I mean, he's clearly, his credibility is not going to be there when he goes on the stand. That video was cringeworthy. He could have jumped up at any time and said, I need an attorney. He was very nervous. He was trying to cover it up. Maybe he has this narcissistic feeling that he's going to convince people that he had nothing to do with it. He had no answers. This guy is cooked. I just don't see any way out of it for him.